The galaxy was vast, ancient, and self-assured. Empires spanning thousands of light years had stood unchallenged for millennia, their hierarchies ossified and arrogant. Into this well-established order stumbled Earth, a young, fractured world that had only recently mastered faster-than-light travel. To the Galactic Council, humanity was barely more advanced than a sentient insect colony, worthy of mild curiosity at best and scorn at worst. When the humans first petitioned for entry into the Galactic Union, their delegation arrived in a modest diplomatic cruiser, its systems outdated by Council standards. Earth's representative, Ambassador Nia Alvarez, made impassioned pleas for peaceful cooperation, offering trade agreements, scientific exchange, and shared defense. But her words were met with laughter. Council members whispered behind folded tentacles and chittered across neural networks. The idea that Earth could contribute to interstellar politics was, to them, patently absurd. They still burn hydrocarbons, sneered the Varnaxi, whose crystalline ships were powered by quantum resonance. They cry over emotions and tribal loyalties, added the Zerine, a cold, hyperlogical species. Let them play with their primitive toys. We have real matters to discuss, concluded the Thalrex Dominion's ambassador, his golden armor gleaming in contempt. To most of the galaxy, humans were known for three things: emotional instability, an alarming tendency toward conflict, and a curious obsession with individual liberty. Their world had only recently unified, if it could be called that, and still showed signs of deep internal strife. In the eyes of the Council, humanity was years, perhaps centuries, away from mattering. But what the galaxy failed to see was that humanity had adapted to hardship in ways few civilizations ever had. Their diversity bred innovation. Their chaos fueled creativity. Their wars, though brutal, had forged minds skilled in strategy, technology, and resilience. And most crucially, they had learned to observe in silence. While the Galactic Council mocked, Earth watched. Their diplomats recorded every word, every ship schematic, every strategic alignment. Their scientists pored over alien materials and theories with relentless curiosity. Their militaries, long fractured across nations, quietly formed a shadow alliance under a single directive: prepare for the day the galaxy comes knocking. This unspoken initiative was codenamed Project Obsidian, and it became the most classified endeavor in human history. Engineers in underground bunkers reverse-engineered alien tech while keeping every advancement under strict digital quarantine. Orbital platforms disguised as weather satellites housed prototype weapons. A secret fleet was constructed in the Ati Oort cloud, away from prying telescopes and alien sensors. Earth didn't respond to the laughter. It didn't defend itself in the pressurized chambers of the Council. It didn't retaliate with words or shows of bravado. It just listened, planned, built. By the time the Galactic Council dismissed Earth's third application for membership, a quiet shift had already begun. New signals flickered in the Kuiper belt. Unmarked vessels drifted far from known trade routes, and in the cold dark between stars, humanity waited. They didn't want war, but they would no longer tolerate being underestimated. Tensions in the outer sectors of the galaxy were nothing new. Border skirmishes between emerging colonies and expansionist empires happened frequently, and usually ended with the weaker party vanishing from star charts. When the Thalrex Dominion targeted Vespera 9, a small but thriving human colony orbiting a red dwarf, it barely registered as news across the Galactic Council. To the Thalrex, humanity was still a joke, a species playing at civilization. The colony was unarmed, a soft target. Destroying it served two purposes: acquiring a valuable mineral-rich moon and sending a message to lesser species not to settle near Thalrex claimed space. They descended on Vespera 9 with overwhelming force, reducing its habitats and research outposts to ash within hours. The death toll, 38,000 humans. The Council offered no aid. In a closed-door session, many members quietly agreed with the Thalrex action. If Earth cannot defend its colonies, it should not expand, one ambassador said. Earth's formal protest was ignored. Another ambassador, a Zareen, scoffed that humans should be grateful to be reminded of their place. But Earth was not silent this time. 6 days after the massacre, an unmarked vessel appeared at the edge of Thalrex space. Its signature was unreadable by conventional sensors, and its hull was composed of a material no Council database recognized. The Thalrex sent a patrol group, 3 destroyers and a light cruiser, to intercept. What happened next was recorded, only by long-range listening posts. 4 flashes of light, each less than a second long. No debris, no distress signals, just silence. Then came the message. This was your warning shot. It was signed by the United Earth Defense Accord, a body no one outside Earth had heard of until that moment. Uniting all human military branches under a single command, the UETA had remained entirely hidden, its existence denied, its resources buried in black-budget programs scattered across Earth and its colonies. In the weeks that followed, the Thalrex scrambled to respond. They doubled patrols, repositioned fleets, demanded reinforcements from allies. The Galactic Council, still dismissive, saw the destruction of the patrol group as a fluke, some suicidal weapon or freak anomaly. But Thalrex military stations began reporting strange contacts. Invisible vessels slipping past sensors, platforms going dark, orbital defense grids failing with no signs of impact. The humans had not only studied the galaxy's best technology, they had quietly surpassed it. The secret was Project Obsidian, Earth's grand gamble. Over 2 decades, humanity had fused alien theory with human innovation. Their warships used quantum stutter drives that blinked across space. Their weapons were designed to bypass shielding protocols used by every known species. Their AI systems operated without centralized control, making jamming or hacking impossible. And most frightening of all, their fleet was huge. While the galaxy had laughed, Earth had built hundreds of vessels across deep space yards, asteroids, and hollowed-out moons. Cloaked, scattered, and waiting. The spark had been lit. Earth hadn't started this war, but they would finish it, and the galaxy, so sure of its superiority, was about to learn what it meant to provoke a united, underestimated, and enraged humanity. The Thalrex Dominion had ruled their quadrant of the galaxy unchallenged for centuries. Their military doctrine revolved around intimidation and swift, overwhelming strikes. Their capital world, Sovrantis Prime, was fortified with orbiting defense, rings, planetary shields, and dozens of warfleets stationed within a day's jump. No enemy had ever reached their core systems, and yet without firing a single shot, humanity's fleet did what no civilization had ever dared. They arrived without warning. Hundreds of ships emerged from the darkness, their drives emitting no detectable energy signature. They didn't hail, didn't demand surrender. They simply arrived, surrounding the Thalrex homeworld in perfect silence. As the Thalrex sun rose, it didn't bring dawn. It brought shadow. One by one, human dreadnoughts and cruisers aligned in high orbit, forming a vast shell across the sunward side of the planet. To those on the surface, it looked as if their sun had gone out, replaced by a jagged, artificial eclipse. The sight plunged cities into chaos. Communication lines were flooded with panic. Religious cults claimed the end of days had arrived. The Emperor's personal guards locked down the palace. Sensors couldn't penetrate the human vessel's stealth plating. Targeting systems failed to lock. Even the Thalrex's famed solar lances, massive orbital defense cannons, shut down, inexplicably, later traced to cyber infiltration by self-replicating human AIs. And still, not a single shot was fired. Instead, the entire Thalrex homeworld received a single audio transmission, broadcast in every known language of the Galactic Union. You silenced our cries. You dismissed our dead. This is your silence returned. We have no need to conquer. We only needed you to see. The message played once, and then the fleet held position. No demands, no ultimatums, just the crushing weight of presence. Across the galaxy, news of the Night of Iron Silence spread like wildfire. Civilizations that once ridiculed Earth now stared at their star maps in disbelief. How had humanity built such a force? How had no one seen it coming? The Galactic Council went into emergency session. Some factions urged immediate retaliation, but cooler heads realized the truth. The Thalrex had struck first. Earth's response, while terrifying, had not yet broken any interstellar laws. The human fleet hadn't invaded, only arrived. And in doing so, they had displayed not just strength, but control. Inside the council chambers, debates raged over how to respond. But a silent consensus began to emerge. Earth was no longer a backwater. They were a power. Back on Savrantis Prime, the sun remained blocked for nearly an hour, long enough for every citizen, soldier, and senator to feel the cold grip of helplessness. Then, just as suddenly as they came, the human warships peeled away, vanishing into slipspace with surgical precision. No lives taken, no structures damaged, just fear left in their wake, and understanding. Humanity had delivered its message without bloodshed. We see you, we can reach you, and we will not be ignored again. For the first time, the galaxy stopped laughing. The aftershocks of the night of iron silence rippled across the galaxy. What had once been mockery toward humanity was replaced by silence, caution, and fear. For the first time, every major civilization had to acknowledge an uncomfortable truth. Earth was no longer a joke. It was a force. Within hours of the event, the Galactic Council convened in emergency session, its members shaken and divided. The Thalrex Dominion demanded an immediate retaliatory strike against Earth, citing terrorism and unauthorized military escalation. But the room had changed. Council representatives who once scoffed at humanity now glanced nervously at the holoscreens showing the human fleet's maneuver patterns, cloaking capabilities, and weapon signatures. More importantly, they remembered what didn't happen. Earth hadn't launched an invasion. No planets had been seized. No casualties reported. Their fleet had appeared, delivered a message, and departed, leaving no trace but psychological dominance. As deliberations continued, a new figure entered the I chamber, Ambassador Nia Alvarez, returning with the same calm determination as before. But this time she wasn't alone. Behind her stood representatives from Earth's newly revealed United Earth Defense Accord, flanked by holographic projections of the Obsidian Fleet. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer pleading for respect. They were demanding it. Alvarez's proposal was simple and firm. Full admission of Earth into the Galactic Council as a Tier 1 member civilization, with voting rights and sovereign protection under interstellar law. Additionally, she called for official censure of the Thalrex for their unprovoked attack on Vespera 9, and reparations for the victims. At first, the Council hesitated, some out of pride, others out of fear. But over the following days, smaller civilizations began voicing support for Earth's proposal. Many of them had experienced similar marginalization or aggression from the major empires. Humanity's display had given them hope, a vision of what defiance, backed by real strength, could achieve. In a landmark vote, the Council approved Earth's admission by a narrow but historic margin. The Thalrex stormed out of the chamber, their prestige shattered. Their allies withdrew support. Within weeks, the Thalrex were forced to sign a demilitarization agreement under Council supervision, drastically curbing their expansionist ambitions. Earth's flag was raised within the Galactic Forum's Hall of Nations. For the first time in galactic history, a civilization had risen from mockery to power in a single generation, not through conquest or deceit, but through unity, strategy, and quiet determination. But humanity didn't stop there. Rather than gloat or threaten, Earth extended an unexpected olive branch, a proposal for a mutual deterrence pact, inviting any civilization, regardless of size or influence, to join an alliance focused on peace through strength, transparency, and rapid defense mobilization. The proposal was radical, inclusive, and impossible to ignore. Within months, dozens of smaller species signed on, eager to align with a protector who had once stood where they did. Earth had become more than a power. It had become a symbol. The final scene, as the sun set over Earth's rebuilt Vesperanam colony, Admiral Keiji Tanaka stood aboard the flagship Eclipse 1, looking out at the stars. A voice came over the comms. "Sir, the Council has acknowledged our fleet name officially." "Which one?" "Obsidian Command, sir. They're calling us the fleet that blotted out the sun." And in that quiet moment, humanity stepped into its new role, not just as survivors but as galactic architects of destiny.